old Canada, right?
Good old Canada.
I think he's got to say nice things about them until he gets that citizenship.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. She's like calling him out. She's like,
Just hold on, buddy.
He's like, hold on.
Not yet.
Hop off the mic.
Get your papers first.
He's like, don't get me on the mic.
He's still got to do the old Canada, right?
What up, everybody? It's the Bains and Beers podcast. Here today with my co-host and a special guest today. We're here with Kristin. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for coming on. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, and then we can go into it from there.
Totally. My name is Kristin Gill. I am the co-founder of Rangle Real Estate Marketing. And my previous life, before I was an entrepreneur, I worked a lot in the corporate world and realized that it's pretty shitty. So decided to kind of do my own thing, and that's kind of me in a nutshell.
So what is your company? So you said Rangle, right? So
Correct.
What is that company about, and what is it? What do you do?
Yeah, so we do media campaigns for different real estate brokerages and corporate clients as well. So anything from a video campaign to maybe like a website design or, shooting a lifestyle video at a home, like luxury homes, things like that.
Yeah.
So essentially just like from A to Z, everything that's required to market a home and or project.
Yeah. So that's the type of work it entails, kind of.
Yeah.
So you're kind of just like recording like a lot about real estate, markets, tenants, landlord, like.
Yeah, and like what made you kind of get into like making videos about like the rental market?
Yeah, no, so you touched on a few different things. So one side of our business is actually helping realtors create content for their listings that they will earn a commission on, and then they'll pay us a fee to do that. So it can range from homes that are up to 30 million to 300,000. So any kind of range between there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll go in and we'll do photos, make like 3D renderings if needed, videos, social media posts. And then just throughout doing this on a day-to-day basis, I realized that the market is very, segregated, where there's a lot of affluent people and not so affluent. So I kind of wanted to dig in a little bit deeper to the rental side of it, because every day I kind of see the luxury side.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I started with kind of tapping into what are people paying? What are real, actual, living, everyday people paying? And I came across a place in downtown Eastside and realized it was quite a high price for a very small space.
Space.
Did you guys see that?
Yeah, like 2,000 for like 200 square feet.
Yeah,
That was the thing that went really viral, right? Like where everybody was kind of
totally.
CBC,
Yeah,
everybody
I think
was
like
talking about
cumulatively it had like 4 million views.
Wow.
But that was our first time kind of doing it for ourselves, where we're like, hey guys, we're really interested in this. The rental market is crazy. Let's just give it a try. And it skyrocketed. So we've been trying to do things similar, but without, not stepping on anybody's toes.
Yeah.
So how come it stepped on people's toes?
I think people felt that it was kind of making, it was like a joke. And that
Yeah, because the people, if there came, a lot of negativity came out of that too, right?
Yeah, like people were negative, but I was happy with the outcome because it got us attention.
Yeah.
But I think people felt that, people don't have a choice in that area in downtown Eastside, and they're living there based on, not being able to afford anything else. But this place was really taking advantage of every single square foot in that spot. So.
Yeah. And then how many people are behind the scenes with you in terms of like, because you're the person that's on screen, and then.
Totally. Yeah. So we have 10 people total. And then there's 3 business partners, myself, Vlad, and Jacob. So there's the 3 of us.
Shout out, Vlad.
Yeah. So yeah, we're the 3 partners, and then we've got a group of 7 behind us.
Nice. And then what made you get into this?
To be honest, so my dad is a realtor,
Yeah.
has been for 25 years, something like that. And I always saw like so much paperwork, like very boring, stale kind of business from him.
Yeah.
And then I realized that, in Vancouver, it is quite stale of a market, and it could use like a little bit of spice. So like we're all about creating videos that ignite something in someone, rather than like a typical kind of just pictures with an iPhone or a video with like corporate music. So we try to like really make something fun out of something that's maybe not that interesting.
Yeah.
And that is kind of where I saw like a space in the market to enter. There are definitely other companies that do what we do, but they take a more conservative approach, whereas we take a little bit more of a creative and sometimes a little bit like edgy and pushy approach that people might not agree with some things, but
Controversial.
yeah.
Yeah.
And in the end, it's all about getting eyes on your content. So we just give it a go.
So with the video, you guys ended up taking it down, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So I think in retrospect, I realized that the person or company that owned this building could potentially be my client down the road. So I was like, if they think that I'm like a little shit disturber, they might not hire me later.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I wish that that company didn't get brought into the news. So I guess like a reporter on CBC was really digging into that company specifically and then bringing out a lot of their information. And I was like, like I wish that didn't happen, because I didn't want the spotlight to be on the corporation rather than just the general market. So I was like, okay, it might not be a good thing for me. So I took it down at like, I think 150,000 views on my TikTok, but then it was already out of hand by then.
Like everybody was posting it.
Yeah.
And then like there was like politicians involved and stuff like that. Like, was there any like political people that like reached out to you?
Yeah, so the Conservative Party did reach out. We did like speak with them a little bit, but definitely like people did think that it was paid for by the Conservative Party.
To go against the Liberal?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that definitely was not the case. It was on our own kind of like little project.
Yeah.
But it would be cool to get things like that from them if, they're listening.
What was I gonna ask you? So you kind of are like, you're working for the landlords in a sense, right? Because you're working for real estate firms, but then it seems like you're also working for the tenants in a sense.
I think the tenant side is actually just my own personal passion. Like I find it interesting, and I have to be able to find, like, maybe not disclose the locations of where I'm going, maybe keep them more broad so that I'm not narrowing myself into a box that I can't get out of like I did in the other one. But I think it's just kind of interesting to see like
what people are paying.
Like how much you pay, like, and what do you get?
And like you're kind of exposing that like side of things for tenants and how harsh it really is.
Don't expose it too hard, man.
I know, man.
But I mean, the rental prices are what they are at the same time for the owners, because of what they're paying for with interest rates and mortgages as well, just to, kind of play the other side of it. Because, they
What's
are
your take on
hyped
that?
up, but yeah.
Because you see it.
Yeah, like I think they do have a lot of expenses to incur, like property tax, maintenance, and then the interest on their payments. And then I do see their side, and I see the rental side. I just think it's the lack of supply that's the problem, and that comes down to like just a lot of red tape and a lot of time to process new developments. I think if there was more supply, the prices would come down. And I think that's the big topic right now. And, to get a building permit takes like 5-6 months, maybe even longer. So if that process could be, sped up a little bit, we might be, in a better spot.
Yeah. And like what you call it, for like landlords, do you blame a landlord for having such a high rent?
No, I don't think, like,
can't, right?
No, you can't. Like, I'm a landlord.
Yeah.
I want to get as much money as I can.
Yeah.
but I also want a good tenant. So
100%.
I'm willing to make a little bit of a sacrifice to
Yeah.
like bring it down $100 or $200 to find a really good person who's not going to leave after 5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
So-
the reason that you're having a property or investment property is to make money on it at the end of the day.
100%.
You want to
Mhm.
rent it out. Then
Yeah.
that's just what it's for. It's nothing wrong about that.
But then there's like that whole thing, like I always see clips on TikTok where it's like, oh, these tenants, these landlords are like taking advantage of us. These big unit buildings are
Yeah,
charging
right.
an arm and a leg.
Tenants have all the rights.
They do. Yeah.
Right? They have a lot of power.
They have a lot
Yeah.
of power.
If you actually read
Yeah.
through the tenancy agreement, it's all about the
It's
tenant.
all about the tenants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they just don't know what rights and they really have sometimes.
Some of them do, trust me.
Yeah.
I
He's a-
work
he's a
in there. I'm
property.
a property manager.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I work at the rental market, so I kind of
That's so
see
cool.
that what's going on with it. But prices are actually kind of dropping right now. But it's also winter time. People
Yeah.
are like settling in and stuff like that. But there's coming down a little bit. But it's also just because people can't afford
Yeah.
things. Just what's going on in like, you know, BC and Canada, just in the world of like prices going up and everything.
Totally.
Inflation. Yeah.
So you're a residential property manager?
Yeah, yeah.
So you get some pretty bad calls
yeah,
about
yeah.
basically all the problems come to you, right?
All the problems. Yeah, everything that comes to me.
How do you feel about like every day just getting like negative calls?
I'm his therapist.
It's yeah. I talk to him and be like, I've
Complains
had
to me about it.
I've had some situations, but for the most part, it's about you know how you said like finding a good tenant.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main concern for me with any owner, any landlord that I work with, is that finding that right tenant to so that we don't have problems later on.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, it could take an extra time at the beginning, but if we put the wrong tenant in, we could be a year, 2 years with the tenancy branch, and like we don't want to deal with any of that.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just money out of your pocket end of the day.
And then you do a TikTok segment too, right? Where you pay money to go into.
Yeah. So it's called Real People, Real Rent. Again, like that's just kind of our own initiative where we compensate people for, you know, displaying their home. It is like, you know, their private space. And then we go in and we take a look at it and kind of just show what it is in very simple terms. Like this is this is
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and how much money they pay. And it does spark a lot of conversation in the comments, but so far I've been finding that it's quite positive. So I think people are enjoying seeing what people are paying.
Have you noticed that like you've kind of gotten shafted by some realtors or like that sort of side of things because of all that other stuff you're doing?
Actually, no.
No.
I've had 4 new clients come to me from that video.
Okay.
And some of my existing clients were the ones sending me myself on the news. They're like, hey, you're famous.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, like, thanks for supporting me. Like, so yeah, no, I was surprised because I think they all know me as a person and we do good work for them. So, for them, they also just want eyes on their content. So if I can help them get that, I think
Yeah.
they're down for it as long as it's not putting their seller in a bad spot.
Bad spot, yeah. Do you see yourself like going elsewhere or just out here?
For like real estate marketing,
Yeah.
so we're currently in the process of expanding to Toronto, and then hopefully to Miami. So we're going to do it in 2-year phase. So next year is for Toronto, and then the year after that would be Miami.
And what's the process for that? To like go to a different country and like.
So that's why I'm kind of testing it out in the first country, in
Yeah.
Canada, in Toronto. So ideally we would be able to, you know, take our time out from here, from
Mhm.
Vancouver, and then go over there, build some relationships, you know, really show people what we're about, showcase our work, and just get to know the people in the industry because real estate is all kind of about who you
Connections.
know. Yeah. And then maybe finding a really creative individual out there that could help us take on operations and make sure that, you know, everything is kind of to the quality that we want it to be.
Yeah.
And then a different country is a whole new ball game, which I think we'll slowly start to figure out as we move to Toronto and we grow through some of our pains and then figure it out from there.
What's made you choose Miami?
I think a big part of our business is weather. So the weather there is often very beautiful. So half the time when it's raining, we're not really shooting any content. So it can be quite detrimental to us here because it's
Yeah.
raining all the time. So if we're in a climate that has luxury properties, good weather, those are just two things together that really make sense for us.
Yeah, luxury property. Miami's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you said your dad was a realtor for all this time. Did you ever think that you would become a realtor?
Oh yeah. I was enrolled in that real estate
Yeah.
course.
Oh, yeah.
I was supposed to be his little sidekick.
Yeah.
But I just never went through with it, and I'm really glad that I didn't, because I feel like there's 1,000,001 realtors out there. Like every other person is realtor, so I'm glad that I get to do something a little bit more unique.
Yeah, I feel like the market's kind of saturated with so many realtors and stuff, right?
Yeah, totally.
And they're probably struggling too.
Right now, it's a little bit slow,
Yeah.
I think, for them. But there's some of our clients that are selling a lot of luxury property. For example, we have a client who's sold 89 million in 7 weeks.
Wow.
So recently, 7 weeks recently.
Wow.
And we've been a part of most of those transactions in terms of the marketing. So it's been pretty crazy that he's pushing that kind of volume at this time in this economy. But some of our other clients definitely feeling the pinch. But hopefully, in the springtime, I think things will get a little better.
89 million in 7 weeks.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's
Nuts.
crazy. So how's it been like? You said you guys have like how do you work with your guys' team, and like is all like pretty good, and like you work with Vlad, like working in like a relationship like with your business. How's that?
People ask me that all the time. It's like, how is it working with your partner? Do you guys like fight a lot? Things like that. But I think actually it makes our relationship stronger, because you're kind of seeing what that person does on a day-to-day, how they struggle, how they deal with conflict, how they, really persevere. And you actually kind of get to know that person in a different light than you would in like a traditional like boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, where you don't see what your partner does on a day-to-day. They go to work, you come home, like you hang out, right?
Yeah.
So you really get to know how a person kind of reacts and their values and goals. It's kind of nice to make your goals together and work on them together. And then, of course, you benefit financially together, all in the same kind of
100%.
household. So
And you guys are always spending time together.
yeah. And you'd think like we'd get sick of each other, but not really. So it's like we always have things to talk about, new ventures to try. Like, do you want to go down and go to a shelter and see how many shelters are available in Vancouver? Like, we'll be just like talking about random ideas. And it's because like what we do is kind of our passion. So, and we're able to make a good living out of it. So it's kind of like really fun to do that with your life partner.
100%.
And you said you guys were in Squamish today. Like, what were you guys doing out there?
So yeah, we have some clients of ours that bring us out from Whistler and Squamish to market some homes. So in Squamish right now, there's huge development of new homes, and there's some pretty unique designs out there. I think they have like more of a Scandinavian feel. So we'll get to go out there and shoot homes that are quite different than to what you see like when you're driving around here, like in the Lower Mainland. Usually it's like the same plan copied and pasted everywhere here. But out in Squamish, we get to film and create content for homes that are very unique, where they have like different types of light coming in from different skylights, different materials being used. Overall architecture is just so different. So yeah, that's kind of what we were doing in Squamish, and every day is kind of different for us.
So you know how you said that video that went viral or whatever, you had the conspiracy for it?
Conspiracy.
Yeah, 'cause like I guess conspiracy, but like, so you were saying like a lot of people felt like you kind of showed the negative life of whoever lives out there because they have no choice. Was that more of it, or was there more like kind of like, wow, she's showing us a good side of it too, kind of like exposing that in a sense?
I think one confusion was that people thought that I was a realtor or property manager renting this space, and that was my marketing
Technique.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where the confusion kind of started, that people were like, hey, you're an awful human being. Like, how could you be a part of something like this? It was more so hatred towards me. And that is something that, like, it's fine. I know that I'm not the one doing that. But I think a lot of people were, I was surprised to see that a lot of people were actually willing to rent that space. there were like some students. They're like, "Hey, that looks great to me. Like better than a dorm room." Like, they would rent it. So definitely a variety of takes. But I think the past few ones that we've done on this Real Rent, Real People, the rent has been fairly reasonable. So people are kind of shocked to see that. But I think it's all people that have had their rent for a longer period of time. So trying to find some people that would like newer into their rental space to see what it is like at right now.
What's the most shocking spot that you've seen that you were like, wow, this being rented out? Like, I've heard some like garages and like
garages. Some garages actually kind of nice.
Really?
I've seen some really nice ones.
Yeah.
I did see a home in Burnaby, and it was an older home, and it was a basement suite. And each room had like a number on it, like 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 rooms in the basement.
Yeah.
And you'd walk in and there'd be like an air mattress on the ground and like just tons of like bottles of Red Bull and all this garbage. And like there's like rules on cleanup for all the roommates, but like totally nobody's following the cleanup rules. I think that was probably the worst one, and it was super cold in there and it was winter, so I don't think the heat was working. And I think that was probably the worst one. It almost felt like, I don't know, like something you would see on a movie, like they've got like girls shoved in each one of the rooms, something like that. But it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And how much were they paying? Did you know?
I didn't know. I didn't want to ask.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're like renting like rooms nowadays. Like, you know, one room for one person, one room for another person.
That's so shitty.
Definitely some dissies, right?
Yeah.
No, yeah, a lot of like international students, like a bunch of Indian guys will get together, like 5 of them in
I'll
one
get
space.
messages being like, "Oh yeah, there's 7 of us want to come to a 2-bedroom apartment." I'm like, what the fuck is wrong
What's the
with you
wildest
guys?
message you got?
The wildest message I got was, "Hey, are you East Indian?" And then I said yes. And then he said, "Sorry, I do not want an East Indian landlord."
Oh, really?
What?
Why'd you say that with an accent? Was it an East Indian?
I don't know.
You said that with an accent.
I don't know. I think I don't know who it was, but yeah, I got that.
The
Was probably
accent
the
was
wild.
just
It just came
natural.
out.
I was like, if he's a fob, is he telling you?
No. I don't think it was a. Maybe it was a fob from somewhere else, but definitely not a. It was just like, it was so weird. I just looked at the message. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I guess that was probably one of the wildest messages. Or like some guys being like, oh yeah, there's like 7 to like 9 of us, and like they want to rent like a 700 square foot condo. And I'll be like, hey, don't worry about prices. Yeah. And,
is that like out here? Langley?
No, not in Langley. Langley, okay, so
Langley's a good market right now.
Langley rented out 3-bedroom, 2-bath condo for 3,500.
Oh yeah, that one you were saying.
Yeah, so around like 3,500. But Langley's very high in demand because people want to live here. They will sacrifice like some money to just live in this area. So I mean, it has its pros and cons for everything, right?
Do you feel like people are trying to push out of Vancouver?
I notice from the people I meet, mostly it's like older people, like people who are retiring. They'll be going out to the island and stuff like that. But I think most people that I work with have a career in Vancouver and they want to stay close to it, or their kids are in a school that they really love and they don't want to pull their kids out of the school.
Yeah.
I think that's a really big thing, is getting into schools, which kind of shitty that people have to.
People like struggle it out just to like live there.
Yeah, whereas Vancouver is different, but I mean, well, even look at Surrey. Like Surrey's becoming so like overpopulated. Like Surrey Central is like so different from what it was like 5-10 years ago. So it's just insane like how many people are coming into Surrey.
Yeah, but then I feel like there's like, you'll see TikTok of like realtors like promoting certain areas and being like, oh, this is like a high.
Yeah, well, they're
area,
fucking
buy.
selling shit there.
Whether it's a good area or not, like they'll be like up there, oh, Surrey Central, all sold out already, yet they're still trying to sell it. Right?
Yeah, even Mission is the best place to live if you're selling something. So
It's crazy. How is that for you? Like, do you feel like you have to always put on like people, like, you know, you gotta always be out there networking, marketing, and does that ever get tiring?
I think in the beginning it was like I have to go to every single thing and talk with people and kind of build a relationship. And I think once it's your own kind of money invested and your time, you're like, okay, I got to do this. I have no other choice. And I think that at this point, it gets a little bit overwhelming because, like, you're trying to always push why you're different than other people, but it's still needed. So I'm not at that point where I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Like, I still got to hustle. I still got to talk to people.
Yeah. What's the hardest part? What's been the hardest part for you in terms of you starting this and, like, where you are now?
I think definitely it's just getting people's trust. I think that sometimes people might see that you're a little bit younger and they might not think that you're capable of doing something spectacular.
Yeah.
So it's about kind of, you know, getting their trust and say, hey, you pay me money. I'll do a good job for you, but like, I won't fuck it up. Like, I'm not a kid kind of thing. And oftentimes people will think I'm like 17, 18. But like, that's not the case. So I think definitely just gaining people's trust, and you can only do that by talking to them and, you know, showing your work and really like understanding what they want rather than just pushing your own ideas. So like just trying to find a fine balance. Sometimes we'll talk to realtors and they'll get on the camera and they'll say something. I'll just tell them straight up, that sounds really stupid. People are not going to want to hear that. Like, you should say something else. Yeah. And they appreciate that. They're like, thank you for telling me. Like, I'm trying to sell like a 1-bedroom apartment to someone like yourself. Yeah. So like, I think just the honest and like banter that I have with them, like, kind of helps them trust me a little bit, because I'm not just like, okay, yeah, sure, say whatever you want. I'll get it done for you and you post it. Like, I'm really trying to like help them build a brand, help them create like meaningful messages, while still being kind of fun.
Do you ever get like any like friction with dealing with clients?
Actually, I haven't, which has been quite surprising. I just try to keep my mind as open as possible, and then realize at the end of the day, like, they pay me, so I gotta make it work. So yeah, and half the time I'm talking to Vlad like, oh man, this sucks. Like, why don't they get it? Like, da 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 da. But like, you just kind of have to go with it and try to think from their side. But yeah, it's been okay. I think I noticed that I didn't get any business from any of my friends or family, which is like, people are always like, oh yeah, you know tons of people in real estate. Your dad's a realtor. You're gonna be great. Like, zero business from that. Like, they just think you're a kid. Like, they're not gonna hire you. So I found that to be quite interesting. Like, I have an aunt who's quite big in real estate, and she's like, yeah, you can come and do my stuff for me, but I'm still going to use my other guys, so you can like just shadow them. And I'm like, that's not really giving me a chance. So yeah, I was a little bit disappointed to see that in the beginning, but I guess that's just the harsh truth.
Has that changed now?
Oh yeah, that aunt has come back to me now and was like, hey, can you do this for me? And I'm like, I can, but this is my price now, so if you want to pay it, you can. So yeah.
So that's crazy. Yeah. So it's kind of like hard, because when you start anything, right? Like, it kind of like you're.
But I mean, that is disheartening seeing like. But that's like for anything. I feel like your closest ones kind of always are the first ones to doubt you.
Yeah, totally.
And then you just kind of just were like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna do it on my own.
Yeah, and you just pick up the phone and you start calling people like, hey, this is who we are. This is what we're trying to provide. Do you want to give us a try? And then there's like that fine line of people of thinking that you're new, right? Because like, I did have a previous background in event marketing, and then kind of pivoted during COVID to real estate when I realized, like, you know what, there's this spot. Events are kind of dying down. Real estate's kind of boring. Let's try to push this creativity we do in events to real estate. And people always think like, oh, you're new. I want a really good deal from you. And then it's like that fine line of trying to keep your value, but also get a new client. So it's like, you don't want to push your price down, but you also don't want to lose out on the opportunity. So it's been kind of tough to navigate that.
Have you been selective with who you work with? Or do you like target certain firms?
No, I'll take
No?
anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you never know who that person's going to introduce you to.
Yeah.
I've had some people that I'm like, oh, I probably won't get much business from this person. But in the end, they referred me to someone that was a huge corporate client now of ours. So I just try to keep an open mind. You never know. Like,
Yeah.
Is it hard working with like the like big corporate fucking clients?
Corporate clowns.
I will say it takes a long time to get your paycheck from them.
A
yeah.
lot of people have said that. Why is that?
Other people hate property managers.
But they always seem to kind of bully, right?
Yeah, and they are always nickel and diming. Like, no matter how much like they make, they are always trying to hustle you for every single cent, even though you're like obviously in terms of size significantly smaller than them. And I think they have a lot of processes, like one department needs to approve this, another department needs to approve this, and then needs to go to accounts payable, then needs to be like a check. They don't pay by credit card, then they got to mail it to you. So I think like definitely you can count on at least 5-6 month lead time to get paid after you've just put in like so much work.
Yeah.
I know it's cool to have like corporate clients, but it is kind of just like my personal experience. I'm like, oh man, okay, I'm going to put in all this work, but I know that I'm not going to get paid till like 5-6 months from now.
Wow. That sucks. What's been your favorite project so far?
We got to market a house in Shaughnessy, and it is half modern and half like old heritage, which is like super like never seen that before. And we were able to come up with a storyline kind of where we had free reign, and it was basically humanizing the home to see how it interacts in all 3 different times of the day. So how the home is when you wake up. It is a $20 million house, so I got to kind of show everything. So how the home is when you wake up, how it is during the day, and then how it is in the evenings for the entertainment side of it. Yeah. So we got to work with, I think, at least like 10 or 12 different models for that. And it was like a full production, almost felt like a TV show. Yeah. And that, just like the creative process of that, like coming up with a storyboard, finding the talent, figuring out who looks good in what role, figuring out the best lighting for each shot, things like that it was so exciting. Like I wish I could do that every day, but definitely those projects are quite intensive in time.
Would you want to like make a show or something like that?
I think so. Yeah.
I feel like you kind of already do on TikTok.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. But like to like a certain. To like another like high production like level of like say like a Netflix, like something like that. Like would that be something that would interest you in the future?
I don't know if I would be starring in the show, but I would definitely love to be on the other side of it, like the producing side. But you guys, like, I know you have this podcast, but like, would you ever want to get out there on the street and like talk with people?
Not out here.
Not out here, yeah. I've never thought of that, but I mean, I'd be open to the idea. But I feel like there's so many creator like influencers out there doing that, right? Mm-hmm. As soon as like someone starts doing something, everybody kind of starts doing that too.
But like, is your guys' kind of goal to get people to watch your podcast?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's the goal. But like, it's not something like we enjoy doing this.
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
We enjoy picking brains and stuff. It's hard at times because like for us, it's like we start the podcast, we say it, we do it. For us, we kind of know we've been behind the camera. Mm-hmm. We can edit anything out, cut anything out. Like, it's not live, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes when guests come on, they get nervous or, like, you're kind of feeding off their energy. And it's hard, but we enjoy doing it, right? Mm-hmm.
Like, what made you guys start this?
Me and my cousin, we were this was a while ago. We weren't, like, when we were younger, probably 7 years ago. No, like 5 or 6 years ago, and we were just.
Wait, are you guys cousins?
Yeah.
Oh, no way. Okay.
So he's my first cousin. Yeah. So we kind of were just sitting around in the basement. We weren't doing much with our lives and stuff. So then we're like, whatever. Let's just like me and him would always talk, and like we'd go like meet people, sit there, kind of eat their brains, and just be kind of like a sponge, right, and soak everything we can in, and then. He was like to me, hey, man, we should start a podcast. And then I was like, I was kind of an introvert, so I don't like being on camera. I was kind of shy, didn't like put myself out there. And then he's kind of like pushed me and was like, let's just do it, see what happens. And then him being him, he doesn't hold back. He starts messaging everybody on social media, creates a page, and like, you know, goes crazy. And then I didn't think anything of it. I was like, nothing's gonna happen. No one's gonna want to come on. Like, you know, who are we? Nobody knows us. And who's gonna want to come on a podcast that just started like, you know, 2 days ago? And all of a sudden we got like a bunch of people responding like, hey, we'd love to come on, blah blah blah. And then at first we were recording with an iPhone.
Yeah,
basically.
we were in the house.
Yeah.
I don't know how we did that.
Yeah, with an iPhone, and we'd get people to come over and
hear like the dishwasher in the background.
or like or like a grandma yelling in the back or something, right? Like it was pretty dissy. And then we went from that to one.
Was going in
That's pretty awesome. I like this.
For one of our podcasts, we had pot playing in the back, which, because my grandma left her radio on. And for the longest time, he's sitting there, he's looking at me. I'm like, should we turn that off or should we let it just go? And then
it's kind of soothing sometimes.
Yeah, so I don't
with the conversations that are going on.
Yeah, the conversation wasn't appropriate, but then I think we went from that to we had a mic. He went and bought this random mic.
Yeah. This is $130 mic.
Yeah, and we started recording with that. And then we had a close buddy of ours reach out to us. Shout out to him. Yeah, he really helped us. And he kind of pushed us and got us in the studio, helped us out a lot. Had a studio ready for us, and then we did our first. And they convinced me. I didn't want to be on camera, and then they kind of convinced me, and we're like, "Hey, man, like just do it. Like, you know, no one's really doing it." And then we recorded our first podcast. I think it was with Pav Daria.
Yeah, Pav,
which was pretty cool. And then, and then ever since that, we've been doing it.
Yeah, then we came out here.
Well, you're great on camera. You're doing great now.
Yeah, I mean,
man, you look great, man.
Yeah, you got my good side, Dan. And then now we've been working with Dan the man.
Dan got a shout out on YouTube.
Yeah, Dan, did you see that?
Is that the one you sent me the other day?
Yeah,
I saw that. Spitting facts or something like that. What did he say?
Spitting jut fire.
Jut fire.
What is that? What does that mean?
It's like
jut. It's like
explain it.
It's jut is basically like a caste, like a farmer's caste from India. So he's just
just means you're the man.
Yeah, basically.
Dan the man.
I'll take it.
So that's basically how we started and how we got here to talk to you.
So do you guys like mostly just target people from more of like the Indian community, or?
I was
like for like we kind of, but like we're open to anyone and anything, right? Like now we have someone managing us, so like they usually do all the reaching out and like they'll bring guests on. They'll look into like who to bring on, and we'll just kind of go with the flow. We've been inconsistent for a long time, and like that kind of took away from everything. But I think there came a point where we felt like we're just doing it for the sake of doing it. And then we kind of took a break, I'd say. And then now we kind of came back into it with a bit, like, you know, a more open mind and kind of like refreshed.
A little bit more urgency, I guess.
Yeah, and try to be more consistent.
And
I feel like we're doing better. But then again, like, obviously it takes time, right? You're learning yourself and like how to converse and how to have better conversations. And ours is more like an interview style, right? So it's like a podcast / like interview in a sense. And then we kind of just give light to people in the community that are doing good things, and you know.
Well, I'm getting married next year, so I've seen like quite a few of like the wedding vendors you guys have had on your podcast. I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like, so I'm gonna be working with Jana Marine. Just her podcast was awesome, and she has her own too.
She's awesome.
Killing it.
Shout out.
Yeah, she came on twice, right?
Once.
Yeah.
So you're getting married next year. That's exciting.
Yeah.
You guys
Congratulations,
excited?
guys.
Congrats.
That's man.
It's like
He's in the back. He's like
government's listening.
Don't worry, man. You're good right now. As long as the conservatives don't come into power. Then we might have trouble.
But yeah, I think a lot of the Indian wedding like ceremonies and traditions, he's always asking me questions about. I'm like, I honestly have no idea how to explain this to you. I don't even know what it means myself.
Are you doing a traditional?
So we're doing like a Godwara wedding, and then we'll just do like a Maya sort of jago thing, and then just the reception.
Yeah.
But it's like even just like the lama are hard to explain. Like, why do you have to sit up and then stand up again, sit up and stand up again, like so many times?
Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
So how did you guys meet?
We met through a mutual friend, which is like kind of cool nowadays. Everybody's meeting online, so so that was pretty great. And his name is Vlad too, so Vlad and Vlad. So
Vlad and Vlad.
Yeah.
Vlad hooked Vlad up.
Yeah.
Nice.
Are you gonna say Vlad? You got something? Go.
Yeah, come on.
Dad, pass on the mic. Yeah, come on.
Bring
in.
the chair,
man.
Bring the chair.
Or you could probably, if the mic's be an issue, you could probably just share the mic.
Yeah, you can just come sit with me.
Oh yeah.
If you're not afraid.
Vlad gained confidence, eh? In the beginning,
Yeah,
he's like,
after watching you, that's why he saw like.
No, Kristin, you sit in front.
Oh no, it's okay.
You're the face.
No, I'm not.
I don't know.
Dan, you might as well join in too, right? Everybody just.
Yeah,
I saw a round table talk.
You've got some YouTube like fans.
Yeah.
They want to see you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Dan does have a lot of fans though.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dan actually does.
My goal
Yeah.
is always to be famous on other people's channels.
It's funny. It's
Dan's gonna ditch us as long as he gains the fame.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, guys.
Like, all right.
I can't work with you guys anymore.
Wow.
All right, you want to introduce yourself, Vlad?
My name is Vlad. I'm the co-founder of the company too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, who actually like? How'd you guys? So you guys both who came up with the idea? Whose was it? Did you guys meet before you guys started, or was it like
before? It was like kind of like me, just like every day talking with Vlad about like my dad's business and like, hey, like, you know, we do some really cool stuff in our event world. Why don't we push this with him? And then he didn't really work out, so then we just started our own thing.
Yeah.
Vlad comes from like an advertising background, so so it was kind of like a good little mix.
You should explain about the corporate world, how we switch to the company, right? It's a hard transition to switch from corporate world when you're working.
Yeah.
And then nobody believes in the idea, right?
Yeah.
Because like people think, oh, you're taking pictures or just videos, but it's hard to explain to real estate world like what advertising is.
Yeah.
And in Vancouver, it's not very developed, I think. And even nightlife advertising is not very developed. And then we thought like, oh yeah, there's a huge opportunity. But the transition to open your own company and then leave your job, that's harsh, right? And there might be a chance that the company might not even work out, and then you still need to push and work. But you should explain about the transition.
So did you guys both quit your corporate jobs right away?
Not really.
No, not really. So
Just make sure you're leaning into the mic
oh yeah,
there.
sure. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate that. No, not really. So we were doing this in addition to our regular 9-to-5 jobs. So it was good that it was during COVID we started this, because we did have a little bit of flexibility of working from home. And then actually just one day we were at a really beautiful home in West Vancouver, and it was owned by a single mom, and she made it really big in the gas industry. And I was just in this house, like feeling like a little bit like fangirly over this owner. And I was like, like, I don't think I'm ever gonna make enough money working at my desk. I worked for like a fashion company. I was like, I don't think I'm ever gonna make this kind of money to have a house like this, doing what I'm doing right now. Like, it's just not gonna work. I need to either go all in or like not do it and figure something else out. So I think that day I actually put in my resignation. The same day, like right after I left there, I was like, no, fuck it. I'm just gonna go all in and try my best and try to get something that I really want. And then I told Vlad, like, I resigned. And he's like, wait, what? You did it? And I was like, yeah, I gave my 2 weeks notice, I'm out. He's like, you just did that so fast. And I was like, yeah, I really like believe in this and I think it's gonna work. Yeah. And there's no other way but besides to have that in your own kind of day-to-day power to make the kind of money you want. So
yeah. And it kind of makes it real for you when you quit your job and you're like, I'm gonna put everything into this now.
Yeah.
Kind of puts that fire into you, right?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like earlier, I have no choice. I have to go out there. I
Yeah.
have to talk because like this is my business. So
How was that for you?
I liked it. Otherwise, you'll never end up doing it.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it helps to burn the bridge. People have hard time burning the bridge,
Yeah.
but then you have no choice. Like you can come back,
Yeah.
and then it might be bad because the business might not like work out. What if we only have like 2 clients a month, right?
Yeah.
And when you're starting, you don't have portfolio, you don't have anything to show,
Yeah.
and then it like Kristin did. She was hustling so hard to get like first clients, and I don't think like without her efforts it would even like this the company would even exist, right?
Yeah.
I think 50-50. The product is great, but the product is not what gets the business like successful. I think it's people underestimate the sales. I think sales is most important, and the product should follow. Like I think you should find this client first and create a nice product that to match it. And
that's kind of hard because the clients want to see something.
yeah, they want to see something, and it's like chicken and egg problem, right?
Yeah.
And then that's what people need to trust you. So that's the hardest part, and Kristin is doing a great job in it. And
so yeah, like our third partner, he's the creative one, and he does amazing work. But I think without the client, you might have amazing work, and you'll just have it at home on your computer for you to look at for yourself. But you need to like get out there.
How'd you navigate that? Like walking into a room and trying to convince a big firm that, hey, like we'll do this for you, and be able to create a product for you that'll like X your numbers by this much, or like you got to be able to walk in with a lot of confidence, right?
I think, I hate to say it, but one thing a lot of people care about is money, right? So if I drop my price compared to somebody else, they might give me a shot just for the sake of, like, hey, she's like quarter of the price than someone I already pay. So that was my number one strategy of how I did it. I wouldn't say it was the best one.
So you kind of lowball before you go in.
Yeah.
we dumped the whole market.
Yeah.
The product was better.
Yeah.
And the price was like 50% cheaper for sure. And then whatever we were charging a few years ago, we charge like it's impossible to sustain the company.
Yeah.
So we were working kind of in minus for a few months.
So now I have all those clients that I have those lowball prices, but I don't ever change their price. I keep them the same price, or like maybe I'll adjust it like slightly, but I'll keep my loyalty to them for giving me the chance. Even though I know like I'm not really making much, but hey, like I appreciate you and you gave me a chance.
Yeah.
So.
And then obviously going in with the new clients, you're upping that price.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Even above like average market, just because I know that our product really does stand out.
And you guys kind of take that away from like a firm, so they're coming to you, you're like, hey, we're gonna create. So you kind of take over the marketing aspect for them.
Yeah, like for example, like we had a brokerage. They wanted to have an idea showing they work sea to sky. So they're in Vancouver, Squamish, and Whistler, and they're like, come up with an idea for us, and we'll pay you guys to make a commercial. So I was like, okay, like that's amazing. Like we then sat down, all three of us, and we came up with all of our different ideas. Then we go and pitch it, and then they're like, yeah, we love it, do it. And then so they use that as their commercial for their brokerage, which is pretty cool.
And like a lot of these commercials, they're being promoted on like social media, or is it like through YouTube, or?
I think they did some ads on YouTube, and then social media, and then they have it running just even in their offices on their TVs and stuff.
But you know what I noticed too? Like, I also think that people don't believe in advertising until it works. I think it's still an expense for them, right? And you need to. So when we create the product, I think for us it's important that the product is very successful, because then people are gonna see the result, right? We had a client. We did a social media campaign for him, and he got 4 clients out of it, right? Imagine like 4 clients. The commission is like 20. I don't know what's the commission approximately on his project.
Probably like 20 grand a piece.
Yeah, obviously that's not the money we charge, right? Yeah. So there is a huge margin, and he can write off advertising as an expense on marketing, which is so it's a win-win situation. Yeah. But you need to, now we have the portfolio to show. Like even this viral video, imagine, like it was the project we decided, let's do advertising for ourselves too, right? Let's make people know about us. let's create a topic that's going to be controversial and let's not explain everything, because if you don't explain to people, then they get more curious.
Yeah.
And then there's comments, right? If you explain everything in the beginning, then what's the point?
To fight
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. And then, like, unfortunately, as we didn't want to show the exact property, and we didn't show it, right? Like, on the video, there was no exact property. But imagine, like, to pay for advertisement in CBC, Global News, Daily Hive, the amount of, like, views that we received, like, it was more than 4 million, right? Not including TVs.
Yeah.
Imagine how much money we would need to spend.
Yeah.
But this commercial, it was for free.
Yeah.
Like, all the names are used everywhere, you know?
Yeah.
And then it works. The advertisement works. I think it shouldn't have been targeted the company, because the company didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
It still worked for everyone. Everyone is in win-win.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy marketing in Vancouver. Like, it's nothing to do with the property.
Yeah.
And then the construction cost is also high, so people need to break even this cost. So
What was your reaction to the video when you saw it going viral?
I liked it in the beginning,
Yeah.
and then no, I liked it.
Oh yeah, here we go.
No, I
Bringing the views, baby.
no, it wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
Because you go to the place and you just show the reality. We're like interviewers, right? We don't give like our own opinion. Like, this is what you get. This is the reality. And then we didn't show the property name. We didn't show the owner. Nothing. It just people start using it for their own advantage, for political advantage too.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, how was that? Like, Jagmeet was tweeting about it. Pierre was going out about it.
Yeah,
Like,
what do you think?
all that stuff. Like,
you gotta say.
Jagmeet, that was hilarious.
that's your boy, man.
That's not my boy.
Jagmeet.
Yeah, I think it was kind of ironic that they were both posting about it. And
Did Trudeau chime in?
no.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What did you think about it?
But I was surprised to see it at first, and then when they reached out to us on social media, I was double surprised. So I think, like, Pierre, he actually posted it to his own feed, so it's like there forever. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm really there, and I'm like not going away anywhere.
But imagine you waking up and then like Pierre or Jagmeet texting you on DM, you know?
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy?
What did Jagmeet say again?
He didn't DM us. It was just the
team.
conservatives.
He
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
basically was tweeting that that the liberals and conservatives basically have caused this housing crisis and stuff like that. And then Pierre was like, you have what did he say? He said this is like the province that your government runs. So he's like, if anything, something like he's
Like,
like
it's
if
your
anything,
problem,
you're
yeah.
the problem, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
That's why I thought it was like kind of ironic. that
Yeah,
he
it was
posted it.
like
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, they're just looking for their own votes and own political agendas at the end of the day.
Everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
So that's what their reaction was basically.
Yeah, they're using the video like.
Yeah.
But imagine like
Yeah.
both parties, they're all different, right? They're
Yeah.
using one asset, like one advertisement,
All from different perspectives.
like from different perspectives to fight each
Yeah.
other.
Because we
Yeah.
didn't put our opinion in it, right? We
Yeah.
just show like this is what it
This
is.
is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were saying at first you were.
No,
Like,
of course,
happy
like,
with
it
the
worked.
and then-
Imagine like you posting and then, so in 5 hours, like 150K
Yeah.
view, and then it was like #1 trending in TikTok for a while, right?
Yeah.
And then it went to the point that, have you watched this video? There was a guy in East Hastings who created the same video about sarcasm,
Oh, he did a parody.
like a parody. And
I probably have, but
I've probably seen it. But like,
So there was like a guy who made like a video similar to mine, like clapping back at me, thinking I was a
Okay.
realtor,
yeah.
saying like, this is what it's actually like living
Oh,
in
I've seen that,
downtown
yeah.
East Side.
Oh,
And he's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
well, this is like someone overdosing. This is like where they
Yeah.
live. This is their communal bathroom. So
And even this guy got into. So we were not responding because we want to keep like a little bit like mystique.
Yeah.
We want to get more kind of views, right?
Yeah.
You can't just explain everything, right? But this guy went to the news himself on the same topic, right? So imagine like some guy creating a post about you and he's getting like into the news.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. The amount of like focus it was
Yeah.
crazy.
And like everybody's kind of speaking from their perspective.
Yeah.
Landlords are mad at from their side, and then the tenants from their side, and
Yeah.
then you got Jagmeet coming in from his side. And
Jagmeet, what is he doing in this conversation? We should invite him here.
what's your take on Jagmeet?
Yeah, what's your take?
How do you feel
Let's call
about
him right now?
Jagmeet? I feel like he's got a lot to say against Jagmeet.
I think Vlad was surprised to see that like Jagmeet walks around. We've seen him a few times in
Yeah,
Olympic
imagine.
Village,
Yeah.
and he just walks around with like no security, anything. He's just like chilling, like with his baby in his stroller.
Yeah.
And Vlad was so surprised because he's from a country where there's a lot of security around political.
Oh, we don't have
parties.
political people
Yeah.
who just walk on the street. We
Yeah.
were walking on the Olympic Village where
Yeah.
the pigeon sign is. And then the Jagmeet with his family just walking. And I was like, wait, is it the guy from the news, you know?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. And then the next day, a week later, we saw him in downtown,
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
walking.
I think Jagmeet's okay, but I think Trudeau's been getting a lot of backlash. In
Yeah,
terms
it's
of being in the public.
politics.
Yeah.
I don't think I think we pro money, you know? Like, whoever pays for advertisement, we're going to do it. I don't care.
So then you guys.
Where are you from?
Russia?
Oh, that's why you got.
Can you
got
cut
that
it?
fire
Oh,
in
you
you.
need to cut it.
Yeah,
People
we'll
gonna
cut
hate it.
Yeah, we'll cut it, but I can see the fire in you.
Yeah.
Russia.
Russia and India are friends, right?
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say-
On paper. Oh, you know what's funny?
Yeah.
So they were supposed to go to India, and remember when Justin Trudeau he cut the
Yeah,
visas?
yeah.
They can get the visas
Yeah.
to India, so I can get visa in 12 minutes, and they couldn't even go to India.
That's crazy.
Oh.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like I
Yeah.
could have went there like in 12 minutes
Because
to get the
Russia
visa.
and India are at good terms
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
and we're not really on good terms with India.
No, isn't it crazy? BBG
Yeah.
can go to India. I can go to India in 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's
That's
wild.
insane. Yeah.
Do you ever miss back home?
Not really, no.
No. How was it back home?
Well, I like it.
Yeah.
It's just different
Yeah.
vibe, different. The way people treat each other different. Business is different.
Yeah.
I think Canada is way to be like.
but there's a lot of corruption where he's from.
Yeah.
Totally. Like sometimes he'll say things and he'll be like, "What if we do it like this?" I'm like, "That's not how it works here. Like you can't do that." And I think like
Make a couple phone calls.
yeah.
No, but it works, right? No, but for example, let's say in my country, let's just not say the name. Like,
Yeah.
No, but for real, in my country, just like people stopping on the speeding,
Yeah.
and everyone expects to pay.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like given here.
Yeah.
Come on, you can't do that.
Like for example, we have some friends who've come over from Ukraine.
Oh yeah, today the story from today.
And he got pulled over by a cop here in Vancouver, and his
Poor-
first
Poor guy tried.
You tried.
yeah first reaction was to get out of the car and walk towards the cop because
Yeah,
normally
that's what we do there.
that's what they
They
do
stop,
Yeah.
and then you need to go. Like you need to
And-
open your door and go.
and pay them, right?
Yeah.
So that was his first reaction: get up and walk over to the cop. And the cop was like, "What the hell is this guy
Yeah.
doing?"
And this guy looks very like aggressive. Like
Oh, okay.
just his appearance looks
like
aggressive.
looks
Yeah.
very like. you know.
America might have been a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the cop was like, "Put your hands up, like get down on the ground, like," and he was like so confused, like he genuinely did not know what he was doing wrong,
Mhm.
and like literally just on the ground, like with his hands behind his
Yeah.
back, just for getting up and walking over. And I was like, what difference in just like how different countries operate, and like. I was just like shocked by the story, and he was like, I didn't understand, like what's wrong with that? I'm not supposed to do that. And I was like, no, like you just sit in your
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
I had a question for you. I don't know if you want to answer it or not, but you know how Western media displays Putin? Is he actually as bad as they show it to be?
I don't want to talk
No?
politics. It's just
Okay.
hard, right?
Yeah.
It's like people. I think everyone have their own interests,
Yeah.
Mm.
and then they just act upon it.
Kind of
Yeah,
similar
yeah.
to what we talked about.
It's harsh because
yeah.
like my friends, they're from both sides, right? Like our cultures are interconnected
Connected.
because
yeah.
like in the family you can have. It's hard.
Yeah.
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 It's
You guys
hard to
same
get.
culture and same like
No, it's not-
religion in a sense.
Different culture. People just like in Canada, we're all friends here. Like we all go out. Like last week I was meeting with my friends.
Yeah.
They like from Ukraine, Belarus,
Yeah.
like
Everywhere,
Arabs,
yeah,
like
yeah.
Jewish people.
Yeah.
Like here, you don't care.
Yeah.
Right
but there
now,
it's
it's
kind of like
yeah. But the world is getting crazy.
yeah, 100%, 100%. And for you, what's been a struggle for you with everything in terms of the business, and dealing with you guys working together? Have you felt any struggles?
No, just I think getting revenues struggle like for every business, right? When you start, you need to bring revenue. You need to have more clients.
Yeah.
How do you get the client? Is the product good enough? And like even right now, me and Kristin, we were discussing how do we expand to another like city because it feels so easy. But once you start doing it, it's very hard because you need the person to trust. How do you know the person isn't gonna like steal your clients? And because we had those issues before, when people were stealing clients from the businesses, right? They just separate the company.
Yeah.
And then that's very tough. And then, but I think working with family, I know some people hate it, but I think working with family is like if you're transparent with your partner, and then it should be easier than in another scenario, because you also like related, right?
Yeah.
I think you can trust each other like fully, right? Depends. Yeah. You can lie to each other. You should speak everything openly. That's what I think. That's
where issues arise, is when people hold things inside.
Yeah, but like to make the business, you just need to say like, okay, this is for the business. Like we can fight right now, for example, right?
Yeah.
You can fight for like, oh, I don't like this carpet, I want another carpet, another color carpet in my apartment. But then business is business. Like you still need to forget about fighting, and then what's better for the household,
100%.
Bring the cash.
You gotta have that mature conversation.
Yeah.
What separates you guys from any other company that's doing this, or any other company that's gonna be on the come up that might use that same technique you use by,
Yeah, I think something that's really important is that oftentimes companies will get really big, and then they will just have a bunch of random people working, and then let's say your client is expecting Kristin to come, but they get like Sally. And they're like, who the hell is Sally? Like, I didn't hire Sally. And they'll be like, oh, we're expanding our business. Like, I think always when you work with us, you will get one of us 3 partners with you regardless. And I think that kind of consistency and trust that we've built is really important, because that's some feedback we receive from our clients. They're like, we've been working with X company. It's quite big. And they're like, now we don't work with them because every time we're getting a different, like, random student coming to do our marketing, and that's not who we hired. So I think every time they can expect either myself, Vlad, or Jacob to arrive to their project, and I think that's really important.
How important is marketing?
I think
for us or for the companies?
Just in general.
Let me ask you. So let's say you go see an apartment, and it's filled with like dirty laundry, like cat litter, like just crappy like stuff all over the place, or you go see an apartment and it's staged and looks beautiful. Which one would you be more inclined to buy?
Staged.
So that's kind of the same thing. Like, if we make it in a way that's beautiful and people want to look at it, then yeah, they'll buy it over the shitty one.
So from a marketing standpoint, your job is to basically get the clients into the home to come see it, to come view it. And after that, your hands are like up, right? Because you've done your job to that point.
Yep. And then we'll help them on social media to promote or further like build their social media presence. A lot of realtors actually get clients from social media. I picked my realtor off social media. So I think it's...
I've seen a lot more realtors on like TikTok and stuff like every day. Like this seems to be like a new one out there, making some sort of video or something going on, like talking about like new laws or like anything to get kind of, some sort of, I guess, attention, like clickbait or something like that. But
is that important for you guys to like be always on top of understanding real estate, knowing its rules, regulations? Is that something you guys are constantly kind of trying to stay on top of in terms of even like markets, how a certain market is doing compared to another market? Because it feels like you guys are mainly out in Vancouver right now, right?
Yeah, mostly Vancouver and West Vancouver area. But I think like just through our network, we do hear a lot about how the markets are doing. It's like our clients are realtors, so we talk and we listen. And then just like also just seeing like what sells and like knowing like, oh, this sold over ask or this sold under ask. We kind of just get to learn about the market as we go. But we wanted to start posting more like informational videos as well from a more unique perspective, rather than just being like a talking face and like going like this.
Well, I think that's important, right?
Yeah,
Considering like how every new, like any young kid that wants to buy a house is always looking for that, right? That sort of informational videos and all that other stuff, because all we see nowadays on social media are houses that are out of, like, you can't afford to buy.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And like I feel like there's so much lost information out there for young kids that, you know, they in their minds they just want to buy that nice house, right? But there's always somewhere else they can start.
Totally.
You
Yeah.
know?
No, I think like as we start to have like some more time to develop our own channels, we do want to post like more informational things as well, and in a way that's understandable for people just like us, right? Like really like simple terms and like just super easy to understand, and digestible content, not like very boring and a lot of talking, just like very easy to watch.
Yeah, because everybody's got a very short attention span.
Oh yeah, especially on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
I think it's like it's very just. I guess it's very different the way that you guys do your guys' marketing and stuff like that, which I think it's pretty cool.
Were you always comfortable behind the camera? He's like, no.
No, I think
Yeah.
I don't know.
It depends on the topic. If you believe in the topic yourself, it's comfortable. If I ask you to do something like weird,
I think I'm okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
as long as like I think it does have to do with like my mindset. Like let's say I'm like super stressed about something else, I might not be able to fully put attention to like going to somebody's house and asking them questions about how much they pay for rent.
Yeah.
So sometimes like I think it does, like when you're working like 24 hours a day, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, people don't realize that also as when you're making content, I'm also working at the same time. So
Yeah, it's kind of a job. Do you ever like feel like that part takes over where like it gets overwhelming, or like you're kind of tired, where like you said there was a time where you like really this is what you wanted to do, your passion? Is that like, do you ever feel that kind of dying away?
no,
No.
I think it's like getting
More.
more.
The drive is there.
Yeah. So I'm really, really grateful for that.
Yeah.
I think once you prove the concept that it works, like, and I think you prove the concept once you have the client, right? Whoever pays you the money, that means the concept is proved.
Yeah.
Like it works.
So you're a property manager. You're kind of in the industry.
Yeah.
Do you think marketing works?
Oh yeah, definitely marketing works. I think it works for everything. I mean, same for even for the podcast. Like you need to market yourself. You need to do things like you guys are proof that marketing works. That you know, you started with the idea that was okay, like let's kind of make it a little bit controversial, or maybe you didn't even have that idea exactly to make it controversial, but you had it, and look, one video lead to one thing, just posting it on TikTok led to another thing, and then you're over 4 million eyes, 5 million people watching you, and they're not just watching you, like not every single person maybe will click on your business, but the amount of people that will go click on your business out of 4 million, that's a lot of people, right? So I mean, I think that marketing it's a great tool to use in your business.
I think it's a great tool to get your foot in the door, but then the product has to be good.
Yeah, product has to be good.
It's very important. Yeah. It's got to go hand in hand. Like you can have the best videos, you can have the best editor, you can have the best everything, but say you're like a slimy real estate agent, then you're not gonna sell.
Totally. Yeah.
You know, you had the one guest, also the Indian guy.
Yeah.
Randy?
Randy.
Randy.
His marketing is actually good.
Yeah.
Like even before your podcast,
Yeah.
I was watching his videos on
Yeah.
TikTok, and he's like genuine.
Yeah.
I think it works when it's genuine. Like when you're trying to be fake,
Yeah.
trying to be too good, like not who you are, and people feel it. They just like, why do they need to believe this guy?
Because in the real estate market, as a buyer, you want to trust your real estate.
Yeah.
And if you feel that vibe where you're just like, okay, this guy seems like he's kind of being
Sketchy.
fake, you're not gonna trust him. For some people, that's the biggest, like, you know, something that they're putting their money into in their life, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
for real. That's what.
that's a
No,
big.
it is your biggest investment. Your biggest investment's your home, and then the next one's your car.
And like Randy, he's very raw.
Yeah.
He is who he is, and he
I
accepts
actually
it.
respect him.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Shout out Randy, man.
Shout out to Randy.
Man Holmes, man.
His advertisement is everywhere.
Oh yeah, on the buses and stuff.
Yeah.
He's hilarious. He was one of the like OGs, I'd say, like the first guys to kind of do that.
Yeah, he started it because he used to do these little videos of like Daddy Randy or something like that, Dandy Randy or something. And like he just knows himself, and he puts him whole self out there, which I mean connects to a certain group and audience, which it works.
It's good for business.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Shout out.
Oh yeah. Shout out to our sponsor at Scott 72nd, Scott Road and 72 for all your liquor supplies and needs.
Scott 72.
72 liquor. Best liquor in town.
He's good, man.
Best liquor in town.
You gotta have him on the camera.
I told him you should go on the camera.
Yeah.
How come you don't like? Because even here you were kind of shy in the beginning, and
I think I just not controlling what I'm saying.
oh, that's what it is. Yeah.
And the culture is different.
But we like that.
Like you don't want to. Culture
No.
is different. You might say something weird.
No.
Canada's accepting of everyone.
No, that's an illusion.
You're just in you don't like your accent, right?
Yeah, and the accent
Do
too.
you guys think his accent is pretty strong?
I
No,
think it's
not at
good.
all.
I'm used to it.
I mean, I deal with.
I love
clients
UFC,
from-
so I watch a lot of
Oh,
UFC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
Comes
a lot of them,
Dutch
yeah. So
I'm Vlad.
I'm used to that accent. Yeah.
I'm used to. I hear that all the time.
So I have a question for you guys. Would you be interested on like a Friday night to go to kind of like a club like atmosphere and watch like a UFC style game or fight,
Yeah.
and have it be like more of a party and where you can kind of bet,
Mm-hmm.
and like have it be less of a sporting event but more of like a nightlife sort of thing? Would that be something you'd be interested in?
So gambling too.
I would say, like, do you think like MMA here is well represented? There's
Yeah.
BFL,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
do you enjoy going there?
To like
Like-
the MMA events.
Yeah.
The odd
Though-
ones that happen, like
Yeah.
They're a
here,
lot of fun.
They're a lot of fun when you
yeah.
go. But in terms of like
Instead you
fight
didn't want to
parties
go
and stuff.
you didn't want to go clubbing, but you want like clubbing is not very good here.
Yeah.
Let's say you want to have like a cool night with your boys, you go to some like fight night thing.
Or you like
Yeah.
here you'll go like a bar or something. But a lot
Yeah,
of bars don't
usually
play the fights.
A lot of
anymore.
bars don't
no, like
play
a
the
live
fights.
Live event.
fight.
Oh,
Oh.
live.
Yeah, you know what I noticed?
Live.
There's not really much like live events because
Yeah,
I love
there's
watching it.
probably
Yeah.
Like-
2 to 3 MMA ones and like 1 or 2.
Yeah, I know
boxing
Bisla
ones.
Fight Night does
Bisla.
it. And there's Mamba Fight Night that
Yeah.
happens.
We've
Yeah.
been to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's fun,
love it.
right? How'd you
Yeah.
guys like you guys went to the Mamba
We
one?
went to Mamba. We
Yeah,
found
we were there too.
we
so.
found it to be very, very cool,
Mhm.
but very like felt like a sporting event.
Yeah.
Like didn't feel like I'm gonna go
Entertainment.
have fun and have entertainment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we were just like curious, like maybe that would be like a cool another business to start.
Yeah. It could be,
Yeah,
yeah,
like-
definitely. But I feel like it'd be hard to like bring on certain fighters and like promotion, because I feel like there'd be a lot of money needed to be involved in that, right?
Yeah.
And like UFC
Right.
doesn't come out here,
No,
It's rare.
It
I
just
think-
came here.
but it's like there's not really any good fighters. to put
Oliveira
on.
fought here.
Yeah, but how many people really went to that? Not a lot.
I mean,
But
I
you
think
know,
it was pretty good.
You know what would be interesting
But
because
it's just
in-
expensive. That's why a lot of people didn't go.
I think
because-
like local
yeah.
guys would be interesting. Imagine on the street
Yeah.
if you just put 2 guys together to fight. That
I
would
don't
be
think you're allowed to do that, Vlad.
no, but
This
imagine
guy's
like
getting a lawsuit.
no, but like
Russia with it, right?
no. I was thinking like I
I
want to
always
get
see those
the-
Russia videos where the 2 guys start fighting
Yeah.
and like they're before at the press conference they're beating each other up.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, we should have this like YouTube thing where the guys like get into like a fight.
We were thinking about the business
Like,
idea
the whole
today.
show, right?
Yeah. Imagine on TikTok. I want to create it. Like I want to create a YouTube product.
Yeah.
Only for fighting of local guys, obviously with permits.
Yeah.
But it would be nice.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, somebody from Surrey fighting somebody from West Vancouver.
Oh,
who's
that-
gonna win?
That turned out to be maybe
Yeah, you know.
I hear that be a
Why-
little
why-
Or like a fighter from UBC fighting
Fucking-
fighter from
It
SFU.
might just not be fighting going on out here.
It might be a brawl there.
Some
Yeah.
gunfest going on.
Okay, let's go back to the real estate.
I mean, it's a good idea.
It is a good
I think
idea.
you're thinking more like influencer style fighting. Like
Yeah, I
that's
think so.
happening,
That would be
like,
cool.
Like
that's
more
what-
local.
Jake Paul type of thing.
No, but I think more local.
Yeah.
Like, you mean just like Joe Blow off the street?
Like you
versus,
know, like
you
for example, your classmate, like
Yeah.
somebody
like you have a problem with, and like go settle it.
No, just somebody
Yeah.
you know in
Yeah.
the city,
Yeah.
You know, it'd be hard to do that here because I feel like you need so many permits
and
stuff.
regulations
And
here are
regulations
crazy.
are
That's
hard.
the biggest thing I would.
But it
do.
would be
Even-
fun.
Even
Yeah.
for nightlight, like I didn't know we had someone on earlier this week, last week, Tuesday. They came on and talked about like how there's so many like stipulations and like regulations for nightlife.
Like, did you guys know bottle service is illegal?
Illegal?
No, I
Yeah.
didn't know
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In every.
In BC?
Yeah.
No way.
Oh, why?
Yeah.
And there's a reason why you can't like
That's
how
why
they
you
take your
can't,
bottle away
can't
from
touch
you
the bottle.
and they pour for you.
Always a server there.
Oh.
Yeah. So we just found that out this week too.
and a lot of people don't know that, right? Because I had a
Whoa.
friend who tried once grabbing the bottle and he got almost like slapped by the
Really?
Yeah.
But they used to be on Granville. There used to be like this restaurant. I don't know if you've been there. There is a restaurant. It was hidden, like it was like construction going on. And then they didn't have liquor license,
Yeah.
and they were putting like liquor in a teapot, and then you need to put like you need to pour a tea. So you order like a tea with a specific taste,
Yeah.
and then they put a tea. So, man,
Without a liquor license.
you didn't go there.
That's
like
wild. I've never heard of that place.
I think now it's all. Now they have permits and they changed the branding, but
Yeah.
before it used to be very fun.
That's hilarious.
Nice people going.
Yeah. I love how he said it. He's like, teapots? But like, yeah, I mean, there's so many, like, I feel like it's very tough out here to,
Yeah.
like, have that sort of
Yeah.
thing. Because,
Mhm.
like, there's so many regulations. It's so hard. And, like, they were saying, like, we were talking about it. Like, people out here seem to be very, like, tensed up.
Tense.
And,
Yeah.
like,
Do you guys feel that with like the actual like just maybe not even in business, but just like kind of the people in general, like being in Vancouver, or is like very.
I think everybody's just stressed about money. Like,
Mm.
I think
It's
just,
tough right now.
It's
Mhm.
tough, right? And like, sometimes you meet people and they're just like stressed out and
Yeah.
For young people, it's tough. Like for all of us, it's harder to be young right now than it used to be. Like
yeah.
you want to create a family, you need a house, you need you need to pay education for your children and all stuff. So you need to
Yeah.
work, hustle.
But that's
all
the
time.
thing. Like he keeps talking about education we need to pay education for our kids. But I'm like, why can't you just send them to public school?
No, you can, but still, like you need a house, but how do you get a house? It's expensive here.
But then, like, a lot of people don't want to send their kids to public school anymore.
Yeah.
There's that, right? People want to go.
Some kids don't want to send, or some kids, some people don't even want to send their kids to school at all now.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess I was raised like public school. Everything was good, but I guess times have changed. It's-
Drastically.
Yeah.
But there's a lot
yeah.
of, I guess, different things that they teach now. Like that, I guess when we were growing up, they didn't
Mhm.
teach.
But like our parents kind of were like they didn't like. Now I feel like parents are more invested into their kids' lives
Yeah.
because we're given that opportunity because our parents gave us those opportunities.
Mhm. Mhm.
When we grew up, our parents kind of was like a daycare, drop them off
Yeah.
at school,
Yeah.
go to
yeah.
work,
Yeah.
pick them up on the way back,
Totally. Yeah.
and they kind of just trusted the system blindly.
Mm-hmm.
What we were being taught, like signing off on permission slips, where our kids going. Brown kids were always the first one signed off. Where some of the white kids with parents
Yeah.
were like, I don't want Billy going here. You know?
Горе да няня.
Yeah. There you go. Right? They're like, I don't want Billy going here. And brown parents are like, oh, you're going, go. Right?
I want to send my children to India or to Eastern Europe to study.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I was thinking.
You want to send them to India?
Yeah, or like Eastern Europe.
Oh,
Like for
Eastern
school?
Europe would be cool. Yeah.
And then, because I think,
I think he means the country that starts with R.
yeah, or like any.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
it
That
doesn't-
would be the best spot to send
Yeah,
them.
because like I think if you don't appreciate the things that are already given here.
Yeah.
And then once you come and then you see how different it is, how better it is, and then you're like, wow, like open a business here is much like easier because imagine the average paycheck from the country I'm coming from is like $200 a month, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, like and then you wanna buy an iPhone, so you need to work like the whole year to buy an iPhone.
Yeah.
And here, like I don't know, it's people still complain the salaries, but
I
for
feel
me-
like we're just really spoiled here, right, in a
No,
sense.
like,
and we
no.
haven't seen the struggles that other countries have seen. So
no, it's
people
not
there.
spoiled. It's
yeah.
just not all countries are that developed like Canada, and then
Yeah.
people don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's what he means. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, but not spoiled. Like you guys are like kind of still can appreciate it. It's just hard to.
But we've been kind of given a lot more, right? Whereas other kids, like there's people in countries, kids that are like starving that have to
Yeah.
fight for food, and they're happier
Mhm.
than us. Like you give them a pencil, and
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the world to them. For us, like, all that stuff's kind of numbed out. So we're kind of like, want more and more and more and more. Whereas like people that come from those countries appreciate things more.
I think so. No, for real.
Yeah.
And then they kind of working hard, I think harder. Then they have to work harder, right? To get to this, even to the same level to start.
They just appreciate being here. So now that they're here, like they just work that much harder, right?
How's it been, like, learning about, like, Indian culture and stuff for you? So you've said a few, like, things, like, here and there.
I love spending time with my BBG.
Yeah.
Well, the same.
Yeah.
I think our culture is almost the same, except for
Very
religion.
similar.
But, like, the way we kind of behave is the same.
Yeah.
I would say so. I don't know.
Do you have a favorite Indian food?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to Tasty India for my best restaurant. Like, shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tasty India, Yaletown.
Oh, yeah, Tasty
I'll sponsor this podcast.
Shout out to them. They're doing an amazing job. Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Good food.
Yeah.
Good
And what about you? Have you been kind of trying to learn about his culture,
Yeah. I've been trying to learn, but I think that it is a little bit more hard for me to understand because I think he has trouble translating some things. Kind of like something, like kind of how I didn't know how to explain the traditions because I don't really know how to explain it. So I think like a lot of Googling that I do and then like fact checking. So,
This is true. Yeah. Yeah, it's a complete different world they come from too, right? Like
and businesses are different. For example, like we don't, like in my country, they don't have the same, because all this marketing, all these agents, they bring liquidity to the market, because like historically, like houses are very liquid to sell. Like they consider to be a liquid asset. It's hard to sell, and then when people want to save money, they invest into real estate, and then it needs to be liquid for the person to sell. And all those agents, the more agents you have, the more liquid the market is, the more advertisement you have, that basically shortens the time when it's sold.
Yeah.
So I think it's good for the market. I think this whole industry is just good. We don't have this industry. It's not that developed.
So where he's from, there's no realtors.
Like we don't have to hire realtors. We don't really have a lot of them, maybe in like big cities. But here, like this business, what we're doing here, it's not going to work there.
Not at all.
Nobody. Yeah, that's why when we're trying to expand to other countries, you need to choose countries very targeted, and even the cities.
Well, Miami's big.
And LA, like imagine you're doing the same product.
Yeah.
I think our product still going to be.
But LA does have some pretty talented people out there.
Yeah, they do still.
Big market, yeah.
And the margins are bigger. Imagine living here and then closing the deal there, and then living here. It's just nice to.
Money minded. He's like, yo.
No, but
numbers.
No, for real though. It's just the margins are higher there.
Yeah, 100%.
For the same like unit of effort, you're getting.
But I feel like
return.
people there are it's that much more harder, right, to go into a market out there because they're dealing with that much more bigger and
competition too.
Sharks out there, right, that are already kind of have their feet in, whereas you guys are coming in from a place of just fresh meat, kind of.
Yeah.
Totally.
Dan, you got any questions?
Dan, what have you learned today?
He should sit here too. Let's bring the whole audience.
Yeah. Anybody else to call the people from downstairs?
Yeah, downstairs.
Downstairs.
No, I mean we just can't. Do I really have to cut out the name of the country he's from?
I think so. It's just so much hate now.
No, it's
No.
fine.
Oh,
It's
what
fine.
do you mean? Hey, no way.
No way, bro.
It's fine.
It's
Oh,
fine.
I think
it's fine
people
with
can
us.
Figure it out from
Yeah.
your
Don't worry.
accent, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. I have a lot of like friends from Russia, and yeah.
Really, you do?
Yeah.
Mm.
I actually was like training with one, and it's so cool. He tells me how like he had to go to military school.
Oh yeah.
And like our cultures are so similar, and like how he is as a person, amazing guy. And like everyone that I've met from Russia, amazing people. You know, like very like disciplined, very like, you know. So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Shout out.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having us,
No,
guys.
thank you for coming on. I was gonna ask it. I mean, that kind of works against them. But any advice for anyone that wants to get into marketing, that wants to dabble into that world for starting off?
I think figure out what makes you different. Try to do something try to figure out what's unique about you as a person, and then try to make that shine in your business. Because people always say, try to do something different, but just figure out what's unique about yourself. Like, how can you sell yourself? Because that's how we kind of got here. It's just like selling us as people and trying to, you know, really make something awesome. So just figure out what's unique about yourself and really believe in that, and just take it home.
Thank you.
I think people should also focus on sales. They underestimate all the startups. They focus on the product.
Yeah.
And I think if your startup, the product should already be like given, like it should be great from the start. It shouldn't be like, you know, it should be great, and you should focus on sales. 100%. Otherwise, you're just gonna have a good product sitting in your apartment. You know, nobody knows about you.
Nobody knows.
No point.
100%. Well, we want to thank you guys for coming on. Really appreciate it. You guys want to plug in your Instagrams and socials and stuff?
Sure, yeah. Give us a follow, re.angle on Instagram and TikTok, re.angle.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank
we'll
you
see
guys
the
for coming
viral
on.
TikToks.
Yeah.
Controversial.
All right, thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
at the Bains and Beers.
And we're out.
Nice.